Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be in the world. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Joy Bastaros, and I'm going to be your webinar host for the day, coming to you from Houston, Texas, here in the United States. I'd like to welcome you to the webinar today. Our topic is low-code development in action. And I would like to welcome our speakers for today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about each of them. We have with us today Bill Boswell. He is the Vice President of Cloud Marketing here at Siemens. He leads the global marketing for Siemens Digital Industries Software Cloud-Ready Solutions, including the MindSphere IoT business and Mendix for Industry. Prior to his current role, Bill was Senior Director of Cloud Services Marketing and Business Strategy for Siemens PLM Software, focused on delivering PLM and big data analytics solutions in the cloud, including the Omnio Software as a Service solution for product performance intelligence. We also have with us Dina Derelick, Product Marketing Manager at Mendix. She specializes in crafting and elevating the Mendix message and is passionate about delivering value to customers and prospects. Throughout her career, she has worked with cutting-edge technologies that give organizations a competitive edge in their respective industries. And we also have with us today Mike Schiraldi. He's a Senior Platform Evangelist at Mendix. He helps customers understand the Mendix platform, what value it can add to their unique set of challenges, and where to start. Mike's true passion is working with diverse project teams to translate technical requirements, capabilities, and features into value-add solutions for the business. He holds a bachelor's in computer science from the University of Connecticut and understands firsthand the developer's perspective. We are very happy to have all of you with us today.
All right, great. Thank you very much. So thanks for joining us today. A little bit about our agenda. We're going to do a brief introduction, then dive into the digitalization topic, introduce you to Mendix, then you'll see a demo, and we'll follow up with some questions and answers. There's been an explosion of complexity across virtually every facet of the product lifecycle. As companies seek to embrace trends like Industry 4.0, IoT, mass customization and automation, new workflows, technologies, and systems are constantly being introduced to help us manage this complexity. Successful companies harness complexity in order to create competitive advantage, drive down costs, and improve the quality across the entire product lifecycle and supply chain. But with every new system is yet another place to find data and a fresh set of challenges for the people who use them. Putting technology aside, what this means to the business is simple. It can be nearly impossible to get the right information in the right hands at the right time and to personalize tools and workflows. And of course, every industry also faces unique challenges. Siemens knows industry. Siemens Digital Industries is an innovation and technology leader in industrial automation and digitalization, enabling companies of all sizes on their digital journey. Every day, our digital industry software is used by companies around the world to solve hard problems in the industries you see here and more. Besides being one of the largest software companies in the world, Siemens itself is one of the largest manufacturers in the world, and that gives us a unique perspective. We know industry, we know software, and we're here to help you on your digital transformation journey. Today's products are becoming smarter and more personalized. They're becoming intricate systems of systems, challenging you to harness layers of complexity and data, blurring the boundaries between physical and digital domains. So how do you harness that complexity and turn it into a competitive advantage? You need comprehensive digital twins that represent and validate what is possible. They're not optional, they're required to be competitive and enable you to find new levels of efficiency and performance. We'll talk more about digital twins in a moment. You also need personalized, adaptable, and modern new ways of working with flexible and adaptable applications and new business models, and the ability to meet rapidly changing requirements. The third key is our open, flexible ecosystem with access to a wide field of global technology and solution partners. Enter the comprehensive digital twin. The digital twin is a perfect example of how we can harness complexity to create competitive advantage. A digital twin brings structure to the complexity by fully integrating your tools, your processes, and data from product design through real-time product usage. A comprehensive digital twin gives you full visibility into the digital twin of the product, the digital twin of production, and the digital twin of performance. Closed loop, from design and engineering to manufacturing, planning, and operations, to how the product is actually performing in the field and being serviced, and leveraging the Internet of Things for continuous feedback and insight. Of course, there are some challenges in leveraging the digital twin across your entire company. As we've discussed, the manufacturing landscape is evolving fast with unprecedented competitive pressure that demands continuous innovation. Systems and data volumes are multiplying. New trends in manufacturing bring more systems and require specialized skill sets, and many core systems are not easily extensible. The core strength of the digital twin emanates from the integration of all these systems into proactive, contextualized, and personalized experiences. Those who can take the digital twin further are able to create a true competitive advantage. But how can you do this when your IT resources are stretched thin and traditional software development approaches struggle to keep up? The demand for new applications and systems from the business often exceeds IT's capacity to deliver them. That's not to say that IT is a problem. In fact, IT teams have made significant strides adopting best practices like Agile, embracing DevOps and automation in order to operate efficiently. However, the demand is so high that these efforts are not enough to address all the requests that come their way. Additionally, using traditional software development approaches, most requests require skilled resources in order to properly incorporate key technologies. Low-code application development is the answer. And now I'll turn over the presentation to Dina and Mike to tell us more.
Thanks, Bill. Hi, everybody. Although the challenges Bill covered might sound daunting, they're addressable with low-code development. Recognized by Gartner as a leader in both their Magic Quadrants for low-code application platforms and the multi-experience developed platforms, as a leader among their industry, Mendix is a resource you'll want to have in your corner. Mendix is a low-code application development platform that empowers makers to build, iterate, and extend multi-experience applications 10 times faster with 70% fewer resources. The platform is designed to enable organizations to increase operational efficiency, modernize core systems, break down silos, and create digital experiences. But how is this done? Well, Mendix powers a vibrant developer community with varying experience levels to develop solutions. By using drag-and-drop components and a model-driven logic through a graphical user interface, domain experts or your team can collaborate with IT and overcome the challenges of traditional software development. Today, I'll cover with you the 4 value points of Mendix that you see on your screen that enable you to empower your entire workforce to extend their toolbox, develop solutions without compromising your existing architecture, and create multi-experience at scale. But what is low-code? Simply put, it's a modern approach to software development, and Mendix is a platform that provides the tools and resources to develop. With low-code, domain experts are able to extend their current toolbox of resources and take part in the development of solutions that meet their needs. No more reiterating and providing feedback once a solution is completed and wasting time. Within the single repository, domain experts and IT can seamlessly collaborate while reducing that skills and resource gap that Bill just mentioned, while streamlining the time to value. The easy-to-use interface and development method provides domain experts the ability to build solutions. It promotes a seamless and collaborative environment for all types of developers within a single repository. It empowers developers of varying experience levels to add complex logic without writing code to build the right solutions, and it accelerates the development lifecycle. So to give you an example, a Mendix user with no software development background engaged with Mendix. She was able to develop applications that enhanced operational efficiency at her organization, which is one of the world's leading logistic companies. One of the apps she built helps warehouse workers perform their job efficiently and automates an existing manual process. The new app saves the organization time, it reduces the potential cost of shipping errors, and it supports a more digital way of working. With more resources contributing to the development of the right solutions, organizations can build robust applications to remain competitive in the market because, as you know, industries strive to do that. With app services, Mendix developers can enrich their applications with relevant capabilities and information from resources such as the Siemens Digital Engineering Services, and MindSphere. Through the valuable add-on APIs and custom widgets that are easily integrated within applications, your organization can power your solutions with engineering, manufacturing, and simulation capabilities. So for example, your team can include services to collaborate and manage digital assets like files and metadata. They could upload, download, and view 3D visualization data to enhance their workflow. And as I mentioned, since Mendix is part of the Siemens portfolio, it works seamlessly with MindSphere. Similarly, your developers can leverage MindSphere to gather data from products, plants, systems, and machines to improve their business processes. Utilizing MindSphere, your organization can build analytics models and gain new insights, implement automated, predictive, and prescriptive processes, as well as collect and monitor data in real time. And to dive in a little bit deeper on integration, due to the rich integration framework that is part of Mendix, your organization can integrate with any system or data source, including the rest of the Siemens portfolio, that contribute to enhancing your solution. Mendix is a certified low-code development platform that is used to extend strategic core systems like SAP and Salesforce, with numerous pre-built connectors to additional common resources that your team might need. As I mentioned, being part of the Siemens portfolio, we work very seamlessly with the rest of the Siemens products. So Teamcenter, for example. The Teamcenter connector that's out of the box allows developers to add Teamcenter functionality like workflow, object search, services, etc., to their application using the drag and drop capability of low code. So you don't need to be an integration expert to be able to do this, and you can leverage the capabilities of Teamcenter within your application. Once the Mendix application is developed, users across the organization can have personalized experiences regardless of the device and location. Mendix is the first 100% low-code native mobile platform. Applications on Mendix can be leveraged offline to support users in the field, as well as include capabilities like leveraging Bluetooth, GPS and camera, barcode scanning, and so much more. Additionally, the applications are also supported on any device and operating system within a single project. Essentially, there's no need to maintain separate instances because who has the time for that? And going back to the story I mentioned about the Mendix user who developed an application to help the warehouse workers within her organization. Well, I forgot to mention that the application was actually leveraged as a wearable. The warehouse workers wore a device on their wrist that had the Mendix application running on it to make it easier for them to use in the warehouse. So creating multi-experience applications isn't limited to the standard and the simple laptop, desktop, and mobile. It goes beyond that. Think of AR, VR, chatbox. It's essentially limitless. But enough from me talking about the platform and its capabilities. I'll pass it over to my colleague, Mike, to show you Mendix in action. Mike?
Great. Thanks, Tina. And thanks, Phil, for both of you for introducing the platform. Now, before we get into it, I just want to provide a little more context. So the purpose of this demo is to showcase what's possible and what it's like to use the Mendix platform to deliver apps. The use case is really just meant as a relatable business scenario. So let's not focus too much on the app itself. Now, what you will see in the demo is how the entire organization, from domain engineers all the way through to professional developers, can be involved in the whole application development lifecycle. So whether it's by providing feedback throughout the process using the built-in collaboration tools, or by working hands-on to develop the app with visual modeling, or even by contributing codeful extensions to the platform. And now we can do all of this within a platform that's governed by IT. And we do that to ensure enterprise readiness. So think things like security, scalability, integration into your DevOps pipeline, things like that. But by including all of the relevant stakeholders and subject matter experts, so not just core developers, we're actually able to drive better outcomes more quickly and more efficiently. So let's get into the app itself. So in this case, we'll be working with a plant inspections and maintenance application that was built using the Mendix platform. The app has been built to address several problems faced by a PCB manufacturing plant in this case. Currently, this plant is consistently having issues with machines involved in the production of the PCBs, and it's affecting the yield. So another problem is the plant doesn't actually have any early warnings that machines are going to fail, and they find it difficult to assign engineers to fix the issues. So none of the systems within the plant are even connected together, which makes it very difficult for plant engineers to order new parts and replace failing parts. So one of the assets that is causing the most problems in this scenario is the SMT reflow oven. So the oven has multiple chambers with different temperatures, and if the temperature is outside the profile limits, it'll affect the quality of the PCB boards. So to help predict these issues with the oven, it's been fitted with a number of Mentor Valor Edge device sensors. So the sensors will send data to MindSphere using MindConnect, where time series data is stored against the asset information. And the Mendix app connects to MindSphere to retrieve the information about the assets and time series data. Now, with the platform, applications are actually able to discover and consume data from sources from within Siemens or other third-party applications like SAP and IBM Maximo. And this app, in this case, consumes data from Teamcenter to allow engineers to diagnose issues with parts easier. And by using data from IBM Maximo, engineers can also view service, maintenance, and warranties. And lastly, to improve the process of fixing issues with the asset, our engineers will have a mobile application that they can use to look up stock values from SAP and order new parts. And one other point to make our plant managers' life easier, we'll also be taking a look at how we can actually extend and adapt our application using the Mendix Studio Pro. So we're starting in a dashboard view, and this gives us a view of our entire plant production. So we can see our site's OEE performance, for example, including information like availability, performance, quality, things like that. And the application is receiving live data streams from MindSphere. So if MindSphere detects a measurement that goes outside of the assets profile, it'll trigger a new service incident. Now, if we drill down on that asset, we can see live data from our sensors, monitoring the temperature like airflow, belt speed. And all of this information helps our plant manager understand how their assets are performing and to diagnose issues. Along with the live data streams, our plant manager can view the BOM from Teamcenter and 3D models using the 3D visualization service. And that'll help them identify issues when they occur. Now, while we've been looking around the functionality of the app, there's actually been some unusual activity detected with one of our pumps. And it's created a service warning for us and gave us an early indication that there will be an impact for one of our ovens. Now, the incident with the pump has a direct impact on our oven, and we have now received an incident that the temperature on our oven is exceeding the profile limits. So inspecting the oven, we can see that there's been a spike in the temperature and that our pump is currently failing. Therefore, we can deduce that the pump should be looked into. So the plant manager decides he should assign an engineer to go and investigate the issue with the oven. And using the team dashboard, our plant manager can view the availability of the engineers. And by using the scheduling feature of the application here, we'll identify an available engineer and assign them to investigate the incident. Here we go. So now the engineer will receive a push notification to their mobile device that a work item has actually been assigned to them. And opening up the work item, our engineer can see work cards retrieved from Teamcenter. These work cards can give them advice to diagnose and fix the potential issues with the part. And inside each work item, the engineer can complete a number of activities, view documents, add equipment if needed, check off things from a checklist. They can even view documents such as manuals and troubleshooting guides in our mobile app. So let's just take a look at that real quick. There we go. Okay. And also to help with diagnosing the issues, engineers can pull information from Teamcenter like the 3D model and part details, as well as service information from IBM Maximo. And using the sub-assets view, engineers can see the information about the parts that actually make up this oven, such as pumps and motors and things like that. And the engineer can see that the system is actually currently reporting an issue with the pump. So by drilling down on the pump, the engineer can see more information about the performance of this part, such as live IoT data, Teamcenter data, and Maximo data. Just open that up real quick. And when looking into the details, our engineer can also see that the warranty information reported from Maximo is currently out of warranty. So this suggests that the pump should be replaced. Now, we also want to make that information actionable. So rather than having to go back to a desk and look up another system, we've integrated that capability to inspect SAP stock and assign items to be delivered to do the repair. So now that we've explored the app itself, let's see how we close the feedback loop with our end users. So, for example, as the field engineer working on this assigned maintenance task, I encounter a problem that prevents me from finishing my work. Now, I'd like to be able to surface this information in context of the repair order to my plant manager and submit it back to Team Center, but I don't have a way to do that today. So I'm going to use the built-in feedback widget to capture that information and submit it back to the Mendix developers, who can then work iteratively to implement this new functionality. Now, I should note as I'm logging in here that this kind of interaction, which requires a combination of different information from Team Center and SAP and a variety of other sources, is usually pretty difficult to achieve through traditional means. And it usually means that we have to duplicate data across different sources, which can be difficult to maintain. So what we'll see here is how, as Mendix developers, we can respond to and implement this feedback quickly. So I'm just going to click in the app here so that I have some context as to where I'm providing the feedback, and add a comment like, I would like a new tab to capture a problem report in Team Center. And we'll go ahead and submit that. Okay. Now, all of this feedback is going to go into the central project management portal called Mendix Home. So let's switch over to that here. And Mendix Home is our online social collaboration portal where we can share ideas with people within our organization and also create projects together. And it's a single place where we can collaborate both with the business and IT users to make sure that we're developing the right functionality and driving towards better outcomes. Now, each application will get its own project-specific collaboration space within the Mendix Home portal. And here we can do a number of things like invite our team members to collaborate and assign them different roles and responsibilities. We can also work within an agile methodology and manage our sprints and user stories. And this allows us to rapidly iterate on our applications. Now, all of the feedback that is submitted through this process goes into the feedback section. And as the product owner, we can decide what happens to this feedback item. So whether it's accepted, reviews, closed, and so on. And within each feedback item, we'll see a bunch of information like a screenshot of the page that the user was on, and other contextual information about the page and the browser they were using, as well as what they were logged in as, what user they were logged in as. Now, if we decide to accept a particular feedback item, it can be marked either as a feature or a bug. So we'll mark this one as a feature. And this will convert it into a user story for us to implement. And when it comes to developing this feature, we have two development environments. Either the Mendix Studio, which is focused towards citizen developers, or the Mendix Studio Pro, which is focused more at intermediate and professional developers. So if we open up Mendix Studio Pro, we can begin implementing this new feedback item. Now, just for context, Studio Pro is a desktop install, and it allows developers to build apps with or without connectivity, so we can work offline as well. And all the changes to this application are also version controlled, complete with branching, merging, rollbacks, conflict resolution functionality, all the things that professional developers would expect as well. And this will allow or enable multiple developers to collaborate in parallel. So here with inside Studio Pro, we can also see those user stories that are available in Mendix Home, including the one we just added, and all of the relevant context along with them. So this allows us to update the status of these work items and easily navigate to the exact page that the user was on when they submitted that feedback item. So now, as the developer, I know exactly where I need to implement this new functionality. So what we're looking at now is a page model, and page models can be built either using the structure mode, like we see here, which shows more detailed information about the page layout and the various elements or controls that make up the page, or we can use the what you see is what you get design mode. So in this case, we'll use design mode and begin by adding our new tab to this UI control or this widget, which is known as a tab container. And this is a section where we'll add the functionality to allow a user to report a problem via a simple form. So we'll start off by adding a tab to that control. Just give it a caption. All right. So now that we have our tab, we have to add some functionality to that tab. And remember, our goal here is a form for our field engineer to create and submit a problem report. In order to accomplish this, we have to use reusable components known as widgets. And widgets are the basic page elements like input boxes, buttons, and things like that. And you can find widgets and other more complex design patterns that we call building blocks right here in the toolbox. Now, before we can add our form fields, we'll actually need to use a widget known as a data view to display and modify contents of an entity or data object on the screen. So we'll just drag one in from the toolbox here, and then we'll configure its data source to be from a piece of business logic configured in what we call a microflow. In Mendix, business logic is configured using microflows or nanoflows, but we can get into what those are later. Now, let's in this case use a pre-built microflow known as new problem report, and that'll allow us to create our new data object for the user to fill out. And the next thing we have to do is make sure that the form actually looks nice. So we'll add some structure to it by using a layout container widget. And then specify how that layout should behave. So in this case, we'll use the full width option. And then we'll use the connector to add data fields for the form. So now that we've built our form, we need to provide a button for the user to submit the problem report back to Teamcenter. And in this case, we'll use a microflow button to do so. And we need to create a new microflow on the fly, and then give it a name. And now that we have the button, we actually have to style the button. So we'll make it, in this case, our success green color is defined by our theme. And then we'll refine the appearance a little bit more by using the design properties, which are configurable style patterns for making styling easier, so we don't have to write CSS, for example. So now that we're happy with our form, let's move on to defining the business logic to submit the information to Teamcenter. And we're going to do that using a microflow. Now, a microflow is essentially just a visual representation of a programming function using standard BPMN notation. So you'll see it has a start point and one or more endpoints, depending on whether or not we have branching logic, as well as some activities and decisions in between. And they can return data, they can accept input parameters, and they can even call or invoke other microflows throughout the function. And you'll notice that Mendix has actually already created the basics of the microflow, even including the available data objects from context on our previous page model that we might need in order to perform a piece of business logic. And it can do this because it understands the context of the model and therefore can help us complete the configuration more quickly. So in order to add an activity to microflow, we're just going to drag and drop and then select the kind of activity that we want to perform. And in this case, we need to start by logging into Teamcenter. So we'll select a login action from the out-of-the-box Teamcenter connector. And a connector is another example of a reusable component. And there are a variety of connectors already available in the Mendix App Store. Now, you can even create your own and publish them to share with your organization, either via the public or your own private app store. And in this way, you can create standard and governed ways of interacting with other systems in your environment, which not only saves valuable time when building applications, but it's also another example of how professional developers can make this type of advanced functionality more accessible to other users within your organization. The next action we need is to get the part for which we'd actually like to submit the problem report. And we'll need to then configure the input parameter that the action will use to query Teamcenter. Just fill this out. We'll give the output value a name so we know what we're referencing. Okay. And now we'll create a new problem report with the details submitted from our form. Again, this is using the actions from the Teamcenter connector, and we'll fill out the required input parameters. Right. And once we've actually retrieved our part and our new problem report was created, we can then call an action to associate the two together. So that's what we'll do here. And by associate, we mean actually creating a data relationship between the two. And the last step we'll take is to actually add a confirmation message to tell the user that it's been submitted successfully to Team Center. You want to have some visual feedback to the user from our user experience perspective. So go ahead and fill out this template. Now, once we're done, we need to actually view and test the changes, and we can do that using the one-click deployment capabilities of the platform. And this will compare the model against the current local version and then update the application and database from the changes we just made in the model and restart the application for us. So now we can go ahead and test this. If all goes well, yep, we were able to successfully submit to Team Center. So to show you that there's no smoke and mirrors here, if we open up Team Center, we can go view the new problem report and the item revision that it's attached to. So from the Team Center dashboard, we can view all the submitted problems by clicking the Problem Reports button here. And on the left-hand side, we can see the new problem report and an image of the item revision that it's associated with. So by selecting the problem report, we can see more details about its status and the associated item. So let's take a look at that here. There you go. So in the last few minutes, you've seen how the Mendix platform supports multiple device experiences and brings multiple data sources together in one solution. We've seen a desktop application for plant managers to track live asset performance using data from MindSphere, information from Team Center, and a variety of other sources to help with diagnosis of errors and scheduling of engineers to issues. Our plant managers have a dedicated mobile application to help with diagnosing issues with assets and order new parts from SAP and get notified of their job allocations. And lastly, we've shown how the Mendix platform handles feedback from users and how these can be quickly built to provide adaptable and personalized experiences as well. So with that, I will wrap up the demo and hand it back to Bill. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Mike. Okay, so you've just seen how you can build, integrate, and extend applications with our MindSphere and Mendix low-code application platform, along with using Team Center and ERP and other systems. We learned today to embrace application development by harnessing complexity and building new, unique solutions to gain competitive advantage, extending the value of existing solutions and bringing the digital and physical worlds together. We saw how to empower and enable your team by expanding the engineer's toolbox, utilizing software development to solve business problems, improve resource utilization, and achieve faster time to market, while facilitating a partnership between domain engineers and IT. And importantly, we saw how to connect to your landscape by combining previously siloed sources of information, making data contextual and actionable, while providing a personalized, proactive experience on any device. To summarize, we started this session by talking about digitalization and how to harness complexity and turn it into a competitive advantage. We learned about the advantages of low-code application development and saw demonstrations of just how easy that can be. I'd like to thank you for joining us today.